Welcome to another episode of A Grain of Salt, where it takes absolute courage to hear some of the thoughts that I have and the ponderings of my mind, anyway. And I get it. But all I'm asking is for you to consider and, search it out for yourself. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. And this thing about what I don't know if I've coined the phrase, somebody else might have said it, or to patent it and get a quarter for every time anybody says twisted faith. So every time you say twisted faith, you got to send Grain of Salt Ministry a quarter. You hear me? So anyway, that teaching, that doctrine, if you will, has not been around that long. The best I can figure, it's only been around since the early mid 20th century is when that started popping up. About people claiming certain things and demanding certain things based on their faith. And by definition, them speaking out words and then those words coming to pass. I mean, basically what it is they say, if you can imagine it, you can have it. If you can see it in your mind's eye, you can have it. If you believe hard enough, if you have enough faith, if you build your faith up enough, then you can get this thing, whatever this thing is. You can create your own reality. You can speak worlds into existence. You, in essence, become just like God. Now, I don't know, but you might want to look into that right there. And that's a popular doctrine that's out there now, and it's gaining momentum among people because who would, the flesh just screams, yes, I want to be able to create my own reality. I do not like the reality that I'm in, and I'm willing to pay whatever for that. And people do. False teachers and false prophets prey on the unstableness of man. We read that in 2 Peter, I believe it was. They eat that up, and they will tickle your ears to get that doctrine into your hand and say, yes, all you have to do is follow a certain formula. Put a picture of whatever it is you want on your mirror, and every morning look at that and get a vision for it. And I'm telling you, people go to the extreme. I have heard of this now. They go to the extreme of even claiming, someone else's, somebody tried to claim, I believe it was Kenneth Copeland or something like that, tried to claim him to be their husband. And I think he's married. So, and by their faith, that twisted faith, they're going to get that, right? So I'm just telling you, this stuff is wild. Like I said, if you can imagine it, you can believe hard enough, you can create it into existence. You have that power by this faith. I mean, you can imagine things into being just by believing. You can change your economic situation with this faith, from poverty to wealth, from little to much, from deprived to prosperous. You have this ability, and with this faith, you can go from being a nobody to a somebody. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? All you got to do is believe it. I mean, it is a power that, hold on just a second, I got to deal with traffic here. I know it sounds crazy, and it does, it really does. I got to pull over where I can concentrate. I got to get out of traffic here. But, and I'm laughing because I've been there. I mean, you know, with this power that they say you possess it, it's your power, you know, and this power, you can create your own future. It is a trusting in something that you can create. It is you can create, like we said, your own future. That is unsaid, that is unwritten, that is unrevealed. And you know, and wow, you know, and like I said, no wonder people would give their last penny for this faith, this twisted faith, this power, and you'll be like God, you know. And somebody says, well, there are scriptures that say you can have what you say. I know, but I'm gonna tell you something. Look into those verses and read the context around them. Don't just pick out a verse and say, by this verse I have, so, you know, and then fill in the blank. Find a scripture that covers your case, and then say that scripture 1,000 times, and then you'll have it. That scripture may not apply to you. It may not. You know the scripture of the Shunammite woman? There were many widows in the land, and not all of them had jars of oil that didn't run out, and meal barrels that didn't run out. There were many people in the land that didn't get healed when Jesus was doing his ministry. You know, there were many examples where it was this one and this one and this one. I'm just saying, you cannot claim what is not promised to you. And you say, well, there are promises. You know, if I say and believe, you know, Mark 11:23 and 24, you know, if I speak to this mountain, be removed and cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in your heart, but believe those things I say shall come to pass, I shall have whatever I say. You know, another place where he said a similar thing, it was dealing with the same thing, which is the mountain of unforgiveness. Just say and consider that that's not the promise, that the real faith that he gives us is based on our flesh and getting whatever we want in life. Our flesh, having the desires of our flesh met. And people want this, and they're desperate, and they have needs. And I get it. And they're willing. And false teachers and false prophets prey on that. Real faith, however, is the God-given ability to trust in the future that he has promised you and every other believer. You know, it is the promise in the unseen and unexperienced future that's in his word. I mean, just look at Hebrews chapter 11. You know, all those people would have rewritten their experiences if they had that power that's twisted faith. Think about it. Take it with a grain of salt.